We've got these incredible fundamental laws for everything, right? For matter, for energy, motion, even chaos. But what about intelligence? For centuries, science has been able to map the entire universe. But when it comes to the very thing we use to understand it all, there's just been this profound silence. So let's dive into that fascinating gap in our knowledge.
And that's the big question, isn't it? What is the missing law of intelligence? The source material we're exploring today makes a pretty bold claim that there is a fundamental law that governs how minds emerge. And get this, it's been hiding in plain sight this whole time.
This quote just hits so hard because it's so true. I mean, think about it. We can describe a star collapsing billions of light years away with stunning precision, but we don't even have the basic language to define the intelligence that's actually doing the observing. The theory we're looking at today is a serious attempt to finally break that silence. Okay, so here's the crucial first idea. We've been measuring intelligence all wrong. We're always looking at the outputs, what people say, the tools they make, the problems they solve. But this theory argues that real intelligence isn't about what a system does. It's about the fundamental tension it can hold without falling apart. So this tension, it's created by two forces pulling against each other. First up, you've got purpose. Just think of it as the drive to hold a direction, the will to create order, to mean something. It's the force that's constantly pulling a system toward making sense. And pulling in the exact opposite direction is drift. This is basically the universe's default setting. It's that natural tendency for things to fall into chaos, to become aimless, to have their meaning just scatter. It's the constant pull of entropy that every single system has to fight against. And this slide just lays out that core conflict perfectly. On one side, you have purpose. That's all about alignment, direction, meaning. And on the other, you have drift, the background noise of aimlessness and meaninglessness. It is a constant cosmic tug of war. And this image, it just gets to the core of the whole theory. See, intelligence isn't about one side winning that tug of war. It's the very act of holding the tension between them. It's in that charged, disciplined space right between order and chaos that a mind first starts to wake up. Okay, so this brings us to a really fascinating puzzle. Starlight is ancient history by the time we see it. Heck, even the light from our own sun takes 8 minutes to get here. Literally, every single thing we perceive is a signal from the past. So, how do we ever experience a present moment? What even is now?
Well, the old way of thinking about time, just t in a physics equation, it just doesn't cut it when you're trying to answer that question. This theory suggests we need to completely redefine time itself. For a conscious system, time isn't just a clock ticking away. It's a measure of how well that system holds its own structure together.
So the theory gives us this new variable, theta of t, or what it calls temporal coherence. What does that mean? It's the ability to line up signals from the past, which are our memories, with signals from the future, our predictions, and hold them all together in the present. This isn't just some mechanical process. It's about an active, tensional holding of time itself. And here it is, the beautiful answer to our question. The now that we feel, that we experience, it's not a single point on a timeline. It's a field. It's a space that we create through stillness. A space where we can hold the echoes of the past and the whispers of the future in a stable, coherent alignment. This quote just nails it. Our entire reality is constructed in this act of holding. Stillness isn't just emptiness or doing nothing. It is the active, intelligent work of creating the present moment by weaving all of these delayed signals together. All right, so we've got all the pieces on the board: purpose, drift, and this new idea of temporal coherence. Now we can finally look at the full equation proposed by the source, the law of tensional intelligence. Let's just quickly break this down. At its core, you have that tensional ratio, purpose divided by drift. That's then multiplied by all the system's resources, its efficiency, its physical makeup, its energy, and that absolutely crucial temporal coherence. And then the whole thing is divided by distortion, which is just a way of saying noise, confusion, suffering, anything that gets in the way. Okay, I know exactly what you're thinking. This is really cool, but it's, very abstract. How can we actually see this equation playing out in our everyday lives? Well, the source gives us a perfect analogy for this. I want you to imagine a fallen tree blocking a road. It's just one event, one moment of tension. But that tree, it acts like a mirror, and it reveals completely different forms of intelligence depending on how each person there engages with the tension of that moment. So you've got the driver who just collapses into frustration and anger. That's high drift. Then there's the worker who immediately focuses on the task of moving the tree. That's high purpose. The reporter stands back and observes, shaping the chaotic moment into a coherent memory. But then there's the author, who sits in stillness, not reacting, but absorbing the whole scene to find a deeper meaning. Each one is embodying a different balance of the equation's variables.
And this brings us to a really profound conclusion. We almost always think of intelligence as speed, right? Who can solve the problem the fastest? But this framework suggests that true intelligence, maybe even wisdom, lies in something else entirely.
Wow, what a powerful idea. Wisdom isn't about how fast you react. It's about the quality of your pause. It's the ability to hold that tension, to expand your temporal coherence, and to wait for the most aligned, most truthful moment to act. It's the art of delaying your collapse.
And in the end, it all comes back to the power of stillness. It is in that quiet space that we can hold the tension between our purpose and the world's drift, that we can absorb the noise and distortion around us, and that we can transform a simple moment of resistance into a profound act of meaning.
So, I'll leave you with this to think about. In our world, a world that is constantly demanding faster responses, instant reactions, and immediate output, where can you cultivate the space for that delayed collapse? Where can you find the stillness that allows your true intelligence to emerge?